The journal level, we look at citation analysis. We have an internal database which we use to look at the title to see if it's been cited in the standard literature. If the journal's been in existence for several years, we do this type of study. If it's brand new, obviously it cannot be measured. One of the things about open access titles, and there are a number of essays up on our website which I would recommend you take a look at. Marie McVeigh actually wrote a couple of essays on the citation impact the effect of open access on citation impact. And what she looked at was clinical medicine. And she did a two-part study. And impact factor, really at the end of her study, it wasn't, because impact factor is annually done, impact factor was not really influenced by open access. What was tremendously influenced was the immediacy index. So because those papers are cited in the year that they're published rather than not, and that's a very good thing. We look at authors and editors. We examine the individual citation histories for the authors and editors associated with the title to see what they published before, where they're from, etc. And again, no one factor that I've just mentioned determines whether we cover something or not. And the overarching reason for covering a journal is because it enriches the content of the database. And that's what, in consideration of all the other factors, we're looking to enhance the data. Now, research analytics, I mean, we're known for capturing cited references, 70 million per year at this point. We have, in addition to the Web of Science, now we have this Biosis citation index. So we've gone back from 2006 forward and captured cited references for the unique Biosis content. We capture cited references for all the conference literature that we publish in the conference proceeding citation index. We've been doing that for a number of years. The book citation index will have cited references. But how do you judge whether something by a researcher or by a journal even is above standard? People who send you publications. One of the things we can do is look at the context. Now, the Web of Science obviously gives you a way to look at discovery, to analyze trends. We have a citation mapping feature, and those nodes on the map, and I'll bring up an article very quickly. The nodes on the map can be changed so that you're looking at the journals that the citations are being published, being cited. Or you can go forward in time and see what journals are being cited by a paper. So you can change the color coding. You can look at different countries. We also have an analysis, results analysis in Web of Science. For researchers, they can look for trends in the literature, in topics. They can see where important literature is being written, who the most important authors are. You can also do this with cited work, cited papers, which is very, very important. So these allow you to analyze, visualize, and evaluate and gain insights. But for journals, and this is BJU International, there were 6,987 INDs included in the Web of Science from 1999 to mid-2008. And what we've done is, in the Web of Science, you can look at influence and impact. So published papers per year, the most prolific contributing authors, institutions, countries, highly cited authors. So for editors, they can use this analysis feature in the Web of Science differently to look for potential collaborators, people, reviewers, etc. And many, many publishers use the Web of Science. The impact factor, we talked about that. It's been around since 1975, in fact, and it's often a topic of much debate. It's a standard within the publishing industry because of its transparency, and it's easily understood. So we use the Web of Science data to closely approximate official impact factors. So what you can do, and I'm in charge of the evaluative group, the group that does customized extractions from our database for publishers, for researchers, for institutions. And for your titles or for topics, you can request from our database a special customized extraction where we can tell you important things, give you insight into what countries are producing the most literature in particular areas, who's citing that literature, where the citations are coming from, so that you can gain perspective in what you might want to do editorially and marketing as well. So we can do that, we can look at the impact factor and what influenced the impact factor by looking at sections in your journal. And I've worked with several publishers to do customized extractions to that degree, where we looked at sections and actually analyzed different sections of the journal and how those papers influence the impact factor versus other types of articles. So we can calculate an approximate journal impact factor prior to the release of the impact factor, and we do that all the time for publishers. Marie McVeigh, who produces the JCR at this point, does that all the time. She's meeting with publishers all the time. We can calculate approximate impact factors for journals not indexed, and we can also analyze articles and topics from a particular journal. And you see that just a graph that we were able to produce very quickly that can be calculated, average citations per paper, and then viewed in many different ways. And of course, there are indicators of trends in what's happening with publications. We talked about China, and this is geographic penetration. It can reveal, what's happening and the penetration of the data published in a journal in a particular country. You can look at where the authors are coming from, as well as who's reading and citing that literature by those authors, and then analyze that literature by country, by journal, etc. We also have benchmarks that we've done, and this is from Essential Science Indicators, which categorizes our literature in 22 different categories in the sciences, and there's one general social sciences category. And you see we've established benchmarks over the past 10 years. What papers have to be cited in the top 1%, the top 10%, the 10th of a percent, the 100%, etc. And if you're published in a particular year, you can look at this literature by publication, by authors, to find important contributors, what your journals are doing as well. And Essential Science Indicator sits up on the Web of Knowledge platform. We have a journal analysis database, and it's moving to the web, and it's called Insights. It can be part of Insights. We've been producing these special journal analysis databases for publishers for many years. I do many of them per year, and we moved them to the web. In this case, it's Journal of Psychopharmacology, and you see that we're able to produce journal expected citations, because we can look at all of the different document types in this journal and then calculate an expected citation rate for all the articles in this journal for each year, and then give you the ratio of how the contributors performed in a given span of years. If someone wrote 10 different papers in your particular publication, you can say, on average, is this person's publications above the standard in that journal? And it's based on the fact that we publish and we process consistently all of the articles, cover-to-cover indexing for every publication we cover, with hopefully no gaps, and we have a system that identifies that, so that we can calculate for original research articles, for reviews, etc., what the expected citation rate is by journal and by category. And then you can look at the ratio of the articles, actual citations to expected citations. And that's what I'm highlighting here. And it's very simple calculation. It's transparent because we do all of that processing. And we can do this at the journal level, at the category level, and then you can look at percentiles. What percentile do those papers published by those contributors rank? How does it rank in that category?